Hey y'all, welcome to Miss Clark's chemistry class. I'm still talking about periodic trends. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about ionic radius and electron affinity. So go get your notes, get your periodic table, get something to write with, and let's get started. So before we start talking about the ionic radius, let's remember about the atomic radius. So remember, the atom is going to get bigger as we go down a group because we're adding more energy levels. Ionic radius, this is going to remain true. Ions, atoms, almost the same thing. We're going to get to that in just a second. Let's think about the period. As we go across the period, the atoms were getting smaller because of that nuclear pull. Now that stays true for the ionic radius, but there's going to be a big jump. There's going to be an interruption into this trend. So let's talk about why that is. First, let's remember about cations. Remember ions. This is atoms with a charge. We're going to lose or gain electrons to form an ion. Cations are positive ions. They're positive because they've lost electrons. I know that seems backwards, but remember electrons are negative. So if we're going to look at, let's just say sodium. If this is neutral sodium, sodium has one valence electron. It has a total of 11 electrons. Here, let's just put all electrons on there. So the first energy level is going to have 2 electrons. The second energy level is going to have 8 electrons. And the third energy level is only going to have 1 valence electron. For neutral sodium to be cation sodium, it's going to lose that electron. When we lose that electron, that energy level also goes away. And we get something like this. When that valence electron is removed, the ion gets smaller because now it has less energy levels. So one thing that we always need to remember is that cations are smaller than their neutral atom. So if we have neutral sodium here, it's going to have the atomic radius of whatever it does. If we lose that valence electron, cation sodium is going to be much, much smaller. Let's talk about anions. Okay, so again, let's remember an anion, this is a negative ion. It's negative because we're gaining electrons. I know, negative, gain, that doesn't seem to go together, but again, remember electrons are negative, and if we're gaining more electrons, we're going to get more negative. So let's say that we're looking at chlorine, neutral chlorine. And chlorine has 17 electrons. Let's place those on here. We've got 2 on the first, 8 on the second, and 7 on the third. So right now in neutral chlorine, there are 17 protons and there are 17 electrons. But when we gain an electron, let's see what happens. Okay, so we had neutral chlorine. We gained 1 valence electron here. So now chlorine, the anion, has 17 protons, but it has 18 electrons. Now there's more negative charges than there are positive charges. So the nucleus is still pulling on those electrons, but the electrons are kind of winning and they can spread out a little bit. Anions, since we're adding electrons to the atom to get that negative charge, they're going to be bigger than their neutral atom. And it's because now there's more negatives than there are positives. The nucleus basically kind of loses some of its pulling power. Let's write that down. Anions are larger than their neutral atom. Let's look and see why this is important and why does this even matter. But first, let's go ahead and get a definition for ionic radius. Now, ionic radius, this is just the size of the ion. Just like atomic radius was the size of the atom. And the trend basically stays the same. The ions are going to increase down the group because we're adding those energy levels. And the radius is going to decrease across the period because we're getting more and more pluses on the inside, more and more negatives on the outside, and that nuclear pull is getting stronger and stronger. So the nucleus is pulling those electrons in. So as we go across the period, again, just like atomic radius, these are decreasing until we get to a little hiccup. Let's look at that. So we know we've got metals, 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 metals. We approach the metalloids, and then we go to nonmetals. Well, something we may not know yet because it's still a little bit early on in chemistry. Here, I'm going to draw this little stair step in. It'll help me. Everything to the left of the stair step, remember, is metals. Well, metals tend to lose electrons and become cations. And everything to the right of the stair step, we know these are nonmetals, and nonmetals tend to gain electrons and become anions. So if we're thinking about this trend, our ions, they are decreasing in size as we go across the period. That's why I'm going to draw this backwards arrow. We're decreasing. So as we move, we've got something big, smaller, 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 smaller. But here, when we jump across the metalloids and go from cations to anions, we get a sudden jump. Because remember, cations are smaller than their neutral element, and anions are bigger than their neutral element. So if we're going across the periodic table here and we're talking about cations, all of these are going to be cations, so we're going to follow that trend. They're larger over here and they're going to get smaller, smaller, smaller. If we continue to cross the metalloids, we're going to get a giant jump when we go from cations to anions, because anions are much bigger than their neutral atom. So we're going to start big, get small, have a giant jump, and then continue to get small. So the overall period trend is to decrease as you go across the period, with the exception of when we cross the metalloids, we're going to have an interruption in the trend where our ions are going to all of a sudden be big, but then they are going to continue to get small. Now, nothing really interrupts the group trend. As we go down, we are increasing energy levels, and so ions are also increasing as you go down the group. So the general trend is the same for atomic radius, but we've got that small interruption as we move from metals, which are cations, to nonmetals, which are anions. Okay, so now let's talk about electron affinity. Electron affinity is an energy change. It's the energy change an atom undergoes when it gains an electron. If atoms want to gain electrons and then they do gain electrons, basically it's going to kind of calm them down. They're going to release energy. The neutral element is going to have more energy, and then when we gain that electron, it's going to look more like a noble gas, because to gain electrons, we're trying to fulfill the octet. And when that octet is fulfilled, the energy kind of calms down and we release that energy. That's the electron affinity. So since we're losing energy, that energy change, electron affinity is negative numbers. So the bigger the negative number is, the greater the electron affinity. Okay, so let's write that down. Electron affinity, this is the energy change. I'm just going to write change in energy when a neutral atom gains an electron. And if we look at this general trend, we will see that the electron affinity decreases down the group and increases across the period. This is the exact same trend as ionization energy. Now, ionization energy and electron affinity aren't the same thing. Remember, ionization energy is the energy required to remove an electron, and electron affinity is the energy change when an electron is added. But let's think about that a little bit more. We know that fluorine is the most electronegative element. That means it has the strongest ability to attract an electron. So if it can attract an electron the best, that means when it gains that electron, the energy is changed the most. Also, fluorine has one of the higher ionization energies, and that's because fluorine is trying to gain electrons, not allow electrons to be removed. If you're wanting more of something, you're going to make it very, very, very difficult to actually lose that same thing that you're gaining. So fluorine has really high ionization energy. It's the most electronegative, and it also has one of the biggest energy changes when it finally gains that electron. Let's draw those trend arrows. We said that electron affinity decreases down the group. So let's draw that backwards arrow. And electron affinity increases across the period. Now, there's quite a bit of exceptions to electron affinity, and I know at the level of chemistry that I'm teaching, honors chemistry, I don't really expect for you to completely understand and know all of those exceptions, so we're always just going to follow this general trend. Okay, so I hope that helps with ionic radius and electron affinity. Until next time, bye y'all!